Welcome back to One on One with Aziz and Nate, #Triple Show. Now, the thing everybody wants to know about this season, the Los Angeles Lakers.
LA Showtime.
All right. So apparently, Magic Johnson's not too happy about the way the season started.
Mm-hmm.
He had a nice little meeting with Luke Walton earlier in the week to admonish him about the start of the team. What do you think about that?
Look, man. Now, what they were reporting was that, it was a one-sided conversation, right? There was a lot of telling and a lot of explaining.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine that is true. You know, we didn't really know what to expect with Luke Walton this season. We knew there could be some potential... Excuse me. We knew there could be some potential clashes with LeBron, which I haven't necessarily seen clear.
Yeah.
But also there was something that he hadn't been challenged with in the past, which is to win now. And what the Lakers have not done immediately is win. What they have done is be very, very competitive in my mind. And so they're losing about, I guess, the 10% most important aspect of the game, which is to win it. But they're getting to a point and putting themselves in positions where they can win games.
Yeah.
And that is, if I'm Luke Walton, that's how I'm defending myself. And if I, the only way I'm defending that is if I say this is how I do get us to that position. I don't know if he does, because the Lakers are very player driven. It seems like they're driven by the performances of their players every night, versus a more of a structured system or coaching. But I know Magic has understanding around that. I think he can sense that the Lakers are maybe right at that threshold of being actually a very competitive team. But also, he doesn't want to put his foot in his mouth. I think he created such a heightened expectation going into the season that now he looks bad. And so he just wants to kind of show that to the media or whoever that he cares and this is not acceptable.
I agree with that. I think he's realizing now that this is his fault, or at least to the extent of the start that they're at, because he sort of likened to Thibodeau, he had this vision of how the team would be or should succeed, and now that we're actually getting to see it play out on the court, he's realizing, okay, maybe it's not as simple as I thought it should be. And so that, and we all figure that the season starting with the kind of players that they had, the youth, and coupling that with LeBron and how we know his teams usually start the season, that they were going to have some trouble. So it's really no surprise to me that, they've gotten off to the start they have. But I think that for Magic Johnson being the eccentric guy that he was, and as you said, the bravado that he, spoke of with the team and the Lakers aura as an organization, he's like, okay, well, we're in a territory we haven't been before, but we should get there.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think Luke Walton may be your long-term solution or your coach. He may not be there by the end of the season, but I don't think even as fans or as analysts or anyone is rushing to judgment. People can see these games are very close. And they've had a tough schedule to begin with. So as you're transitioning to the East, let's just slow the roll. Let's take a look at perhaps players or how they're collaborating a bit. And I've seen a lot of guys come up to a level this year. Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma. I don't know if Kuzma's the second best player on the team. But if I had to vote, I'd throw him in there. There's a lot of guys right now that are just going for it. And that's what I want. That's encouraging as a GM, as a coach. that these guys at least want to be in this moment right now, and they're putting it all out there. And no one is deferring to LeBron like they're scared. They'll just defer to his leadership.
Yeah.
So that is all good. Your winning percentage, it'll follow. Right. I do trust that.
I agree with that as well. You're seeing, as opposed to what we saw last year with the Cavs, when they had the guys like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Rodney Hood, we didn't really see them, take onus to the moment that, okay, like we're playing with LeBron, we're in the playoffs, or in the finals. Like you didn't get that. Whereas, like you said, we see that they haven't won as many games as they'd like to, but they're in every game, and you're seeing from guys like a Josh Hart, Ingram when he's not trying to punch people in the face, and Kyle Kuzma that they want to be here. They want, they understand the moment, the gravity, everything that's going on, and they're showing up to play, or at least giving the effort to show that, hey, we want to be competitive. We want to be here.
I don't know if it's just because of the system either, but my God, JaVale McGee. Bro, you are an efficient player. Mr. Rat Tail.
Right.
JaVale McGee has benefited more than anybody from this situation. And as they're looking, I'm guessing they're going to need somebody to really fill that backup position in the long term. But
they did just sign Tyson Chandler.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep. And he played that first game. I wasn't super impressed, but whatever.
I think it was good enough. I thought it was funny because after that game, the whole narrative, like we were talking about earlier, narrative perception. It's like, well, now that they have Tyson Chandler, backup Chandler, have you seen enough? And it's like,
it's nothing.
Right. I'm like, yes, Tyson Chandler played well, but they still need, not that they need much more, but I think their whole system is just, not the whole system is going to have to change, but the philosophy. Because today's NBA is about pace and spacing and shooting. And the Lakers just don't have great shooting. I was looking over some of the statistics, and as we know with the pace of play this year, it's been risen. LeBron is averaging 5.5 threes per game, but he's only shooting 29%. Kyle Kuzma is averaging, I think, 5.5 as well, 31%. Lonzo Ball, 4.5 threes per game, 41%, which is a little encouraging.
That's better.
And our guy Josh Hart, 5 threes a game, 45%. Yeah. But you're seeing, I think LeBron and Kuzma are their, 1 and 2 scorers, or Kuzma might be 3 behind. Well, no, Ingram.
I think Kuzma is number 2.
Ingram got suspended for punching people.
Right.
So Kuzma's probably the second best scorer. But your top 2 3-point attempts per game are shooting around 30%. Yeah, and that's just not good.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that we've seen, which is the reason why you bring in guys like Tyson Chandler, that their defense just it's not there as well as the rebounding. And for me, like I said, I think Magic is realizing, hey, like the team that I put together maybe wasn't the best team. Because I remember I said this in our summer episode when we were going over all the Lakers stuff. I really feel like of the 4 guys that they signed this summer, aside from LeBron, the McGee, Lance Stevenson, Rondo, and Michael Beasley, who I haven't even seen step on his court right now. Why not? I would rather have not signed Stevenson and Beasley and kept Julius Randle, because what you're seeing right now is that rebounding and that toughness in the front court position just isn't there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Julius Randle is missed. And I haven't really checked in on him in
He's doing well. He's doing really well.
Because, if I recall, he had like several 20-point games at the tail end of last year. But I don't know if that was to maybe open up the floor for that spacing, because he can't really play a great inside-out game. LeBron with maybe more of the driving kick could facilitate in the middle. And they play just so much pick and roll now. It's crazy. But, the shooting, how do they turn into a more efficient shooting team then? Because the running gun is really, I don't know if they're trying to mimic a Golden State style of just,
I think they want to, but you just don't have the personnel for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet that they try to. I know the pace will stay there, but I see the pick and roll being the primary play. You know, they're kind of their go-to throughout the year because again, that does give them some spacing, some passing lanes, and Tyson Chandler and JaVale McGee are efficient 2 feet from the basket. So
for sure,
keep working on that.
I think they're good, like you said. But I think what's happening is that slowly, as the season matures, is that we're going to see them start signing players, and the team is going to look more like Cleveland did because we're realizing that LeBron, albeit the great player that he is, needs certain type of players around him. And although we've seen, because I mean, if you watch the games, LeBron is kind of cruising right now, which is funny because 27, 8-7, whatever he is, like he's just that great where he can do that. But you can tell he's trying to,
let things come
nitpick and see, okay, how does Ingram or Kuzma the ball respond to certain situations, and which of these guys am I going to be able to give more responsibility to as the season goes on, which I think is good because he realizes he's not, while he's in great physical shape, he can't last year,
last year was evident of just carrying a team literally.
Right. He doesn't want to, be that for 4 years. So which one of these guys is going to be the guy that steps up and, his Kyrie essentially?
So what would be your rotation right now?
Right now, I think you got to go back to Rondo, even though, Lonzo's got the more length. And so this is what I feel like. And once again, I go back to it's Magic's fault because he's putting these players together. Because in theory, Lonzo Ball is the kind of player that you would say, oh, he'd be good alongside of LeBron. But there's a difference between being, what you think would be good alongside of him and what he needs. Lonzo seems like the kind of player that complements LeBron, but Kyrie is the kind of player that LeBron needs. Right.
Yeah, right.
And that's where I blame Magic because I was looking back at that draft and it's like, okay, the Lakers had the second pick. I'm going to throw Donovan Mitchell out because no one saw that coming. Yeah. But you having the number 2 pick and guys like Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, who clearly outplayed Lonzo in college.
In that tournament,
Right.
Yeah. No, it was...
What more, as far as comparing players head to head, if there was ever, hey, what else did you need to see? So
in a lot of ways, we can envision that could have also been driven by a particular narrative.
Yeah.
Wherein,
we know
Lonzo Ball, the hometown kid, is here in LA.
As well as someone else's
right.
principal. We're not going to talk about
right.
that. And then the other guy, I just got to throw him in there, Dennis Smith, because I like him.
Yeah.
But Dennis Smith coming off the injury that he had, I can understand why you wouldn't spend a number 2 pick on him. But for sure, what we saw in college from Tatum and Fox, it's. And not even that Lonzo's been a terrible player, but for you to be a number 2 pick, and playing in Los Angeles, of course, the magnifying glass is going to be on you. Because one of the things that I saw prior to LeBron coming to the LA was, the group of players that they had, and looking at them and saying, okay, which of these players can take that next step? We didn't know if we were going to get LeBron, but if you're going to have a star player, coming in. Yeah. So for me, I personally felt like D'Angelo Russell was that guy.
Yeah.
Because he, his game is just, because he's a guard, but he's not he's just crafty.
He's crafty.
Yeah.
And he has a weird sense of confidence about himself, too.
But that's what I like about him. Was I think there was one of the games they were playing Cleveland actually, and him and Kyrie were going back and forth. I think Russell had 40 or 50 or something like that. But that's when I was like, okay, this is a guy that's not afraid of the moment. He's ready to go head to head. He might not be as talented as guard, but he knows he can compete at this level. And so that's what I saw when I'm thinking, okay, you need guys next to LeBron that have that type of confidence, and I just don't see that from Lonzo.
See, but as we've moved away from that draft, I think many people have circled back and have evaluated Lonzo as the short end on the stick, or stick, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're looking towards Ingram to be that Pippen, right, to Jordan.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting as much expectation and responsibility on Lonzo to come up to that space. I need Ingram, who's a more dynamic player, and he's more complimentary in terms of what LeBron can't do.
Yes.
And so that's who I would say, bro, this is year 3. This is how I need you. These are the moments where I'm going to call on you. We're going to call a timeout, and the coach is going to say, this is you. That will never be a Lonzo Ball.
So has Lonzo become the Markelle Fultz of the Lakers?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's not bad because for the Lakers, you have a massive amount of potential that could still be brought into what you're working with. But also, it's trade potential. You can move on and not feel bad about it because you have solid components that otherwise would fill that position.
Right.
So, they've talked about that since the start of the season, whether or not Rondo could drive out Lonzo Ball just based on the nature of his person and his game. But I don't know. I think Lakers will soon realize they do need Lonzo. And that may be starting, that may be coming off the bench, but he also needs an opportunity. We've seen him shoot a lot more efficiently.
I agree.
The more shots he's putting up, the more time he's on the floor. He just plays in the flow and the pace of the game as well. So I wouldn't give up on him, certainly.
I think he's definitely still finding himself, which is kind of funny to say because this is only his second year. But like I said, he came back this year. He looks in better shape.
Yeah,
not that he was in bad
stronger.
shape, but he looks bigger.
Yeah.
And like we said, he looks more confident in his shot. I think what magnifies that, as well as him being the number 2 pick in that draft that year, was that Kuzma and Hart have just seemed to develop quicker than he has already for them to be all in that same class. And so that's when you look back at him like, well, these guys are late second round, or late first round and early second round picks, and they've already been able to adjust to the game.
Right.
Why haven't you?
Yeah, that's a hard conversation to have because, again, it goes back to those reality checks and those little ways to find motivating factors that impact the game that aren't just coming from your coach or your players or whatever telling you. It's an intrinsic sense of, your capability. And I think he is the type of guy. I don't know about the LeVar Ball world, right?
Who? I haven't heard from that guy.
Right, and gladly so. I'm not really in tune with how LeVar has taught his son to approach that mentality. But I'm fairly confident that Lonzo isn't a give-up guy. It'll just come. And whether or not the Lakers will use him or another team, I think he'll be just fine. In the long term, right now, you've made a move for Rondo, use him. He's still your vet. He knows how to execute out there, and he does play a bit more, I think, cohesively with LeBron at this point, and can even facilitate the rest of the offense how they need.
I think him having Chandler having another guy pick and roll and lobs. I need Rondo to stop passing up shots though, and it's clear you don't want to shoot, but at the same time
people have been leaving him open for years now. But take the shot. You're right.
I don't think he can't shoot though. It's a confidence thing. So, anywho,
either way, why has Michael Beasley not been on the floor? Not once. I think he played maybe 2 minutes at the end of a game.
Right. That's a surprising thing to me because I would have thought maybe that he would be on the floor before Lance would be, just from a length aspect. And I think because Lance is crazy. He's exciting to watch. He's got the handles and the moves, but at the same time, it's so erratic. So I would have thought a guy like Michael Beasley would be on the floor because of his length and that his game is more
steady,
more steady. But like I said, there's always a lot of things. We don't know what's going on in practice.
It's gotta be he comes into training camp and practices just and immediately gives the wrong impression. It has to be that. Because you don't even see coaches talking about this is what we're trying to do with Michael, or we're trying. So he's clearly messing up his own career. And again, based on what I think LeBron could bring out of him, it's just another waste of potential. And a Rondo, I think there's a few guards on that team that could really utilize a guy like Mike Beasley, but.
I think he's one of those guys that maybe they'll look forward more to when the playoffs start. 'Cause when the game slows down, well, we assume the games will slow down, but who knows? Teams out here scoring 140 points in regulation.
Right.
But I think he'll be one of those guys when the playoffs come and, guys can't score and you need like low post buckets or buckets around the elbow that he'll get more playing time then. Or he might be trade bait, so you can bring in, a Corver guy from, the past LeBron teams.
Right. Yeah, where's can we still get Ray out of retirement?
Right. Channing Frye. But I think also as well, like when Mo Wagner comes back from injury, I think he'll get a lot of playing time. Because he's a versatile big. I like what I saw from him in Summer League.
Me too.
He can shoot enough, And I don't think they're going to be expecting him to make plays, but he'll be able to be in that elbow to low post area, getting rebounds, making jump shots. So.
Yeah, I really have not lost any faith that the Lakers can't get it together. Again, this is a LeBron James team, so that alone will get you to a pretty positive space if he wants. But I do have some questions, and we'll talk about them in our next show. Just about what will allow them to take the next step as we're maybe looking towards next year. If a guy like a Brandon Ingram and a Kuzma can be your 2 and 3 out of that, you need your 3 superstars. Then what else is there that left? What work do we need to do to be a champion? So we'll save that for the next episode.
Definitely, for sure. Well, thank you all for sticking around for One-on-One with Nate and Aziz, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, y'all.